You've been lied to, not with words, but with symbols. They made you afraid of the eye. They told you the goat was evil. They branded 666 as the mark of the beast. But here's the truth. No one told you. These were never symbols of darkness. They were maps, keys, gateways to understanding yourself and the universe. The real danger was never the symbol. It was what might happen if you understood it. They've turned wisdom into fear. They've made the sacred feel satanic. Because if you knew what the ancients encoded in these symbols, you'd be harder to control. Look closely. The most powerful organizations in the world still use these symbols. They're on your dollar bill. They're carved into government buildings. They're burned into pop culture. Why? Because symbols bypass logic. They speak to your subconscious, and the elite never stopped using them. They just convinced you not to. In Kabbalah, alchemy, and Hermetic philosophy, symbols were never decoration. They were living codes of transformation. Each one represented a force inside you, your higher self, your inner chaos, your hidden potential. The goat, balance, willpower, integration. The eye, awareness, illumination. 666, not demonic, but human. Carbon atom, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. The number of the beast, because you are the beast to be tamed and mastered. And here's the ultimate twist. They didn't hide these truths. They put them everywhere, because they knew most people would never look deeper, or worse. They'd be too afraid to even try. Fear is the best lock. Symbols are the key. This video is the door. And before we open that door, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to support my work. Now, let's open it. They called them satanic. They stamped them with fear. But the eye, the goat, and 666 weren't warnings from hell. They were mirrors of the self. These are not signs of evil. They're signs of awakening. If you fear them, you fear your own potential. Let's start with the eye, the so-called all-seeing eye that stares back from the dollar bill. It's not watching you. It's calling you to watch yourself. In ancient Egypt, it was the eye of Horus, a symbol of divine perception, balance, inner vision. In Kabbalah, it's the eye of Da'at, the hidden knowledge that appears when you're ready. It's not about surveillance. It's about awareness. The eye through which I see God, wrote Meister Eckhart, is the same eye through which God sees me. They didn't hide it. They put it on the currency because they knew most would never look inward. Now the goat, Baphomet, the horned figure that scared every child raised in the West. But if you strip away the propaganda, you'll find this. A figure seated in perfect balance. One hand points up, one down. As above, so below. Male and female, light and dark, animal and divine. This is not a monster. It's a mirror of integration. The goat climbs the mountain, no matter how steep. It doesn't need approval. It needs truth. That's why it's feared, because it represents the sovereign individual who has mastered his nature. The true initiate doesn't destroy his demons. He rides them to the summit. Finally, 666, the number they branded into every horror story and exorcism flick. But here's the hidden truth. It's the number of man. Carbon, the element that makes up all life, has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Not evil, just earthly. In the book of Revelation, 666 is not the devil. It's the beast, the unawakened human, the ego-driven, chaotic, uninitiated self. The danger isn't 666, it's staying stuck in it. Because the beast isn't outside of you. It's inside, and it's waiting to be transmuted. You don't run from the beast. You tame it. You burn it in the fire of discipline and rise as something more. As above, so below. As within, so without. You've heard the phrase, but most repeat it without ever living it. This isn't poetry, it's physics for the soul. It means every symbol, every myth, every force in the universe also lives inside you. What happens in the heavens happens in your mind. What's buried in your subconscious appears in your world. This law, the Hermetic axiom, is the skeleton key to esoteric knowledge. It's the reason why symbols work. They bypass language and speak to the architecture of your being. Kabbalah isn't a religion, it's a map. At the center is the tree of life, 10 spheres called Sephirot, connected by 22 paths. It's not just cosmology, it's you. Every Sephirah represents a layer of your consciousness. Keter, the crown, your highest divine potential. Tiferet, the heart, harmony, will, integration. Yesod, foundation, your subconscious programming. Malkud, the kingdom, your material world, your results. And if you ascend through these layers with awareness and discipline, you don't just learn the system, you become it. The tree isn't outside of you, it's rooted in you. This is why symbols matter. The Ouroboros isn't just a snake eating its tail. It's your cycle of destruction and rebirth, the ego dying, the self-reforming. The pentagram, not satanic. It's man, head, arms and legs spread in the golden ratio. It's balance, protection, elemental mastery. Even the spiral, from ancient petroglyphs to your own DNA, reveals the path of inner growth. Not a straight line, but a turning inward, deeper each time. These symbols are reflections of inner realities. They were never meant to control you. They were meant to wake you up. So when they deface the tree, when they twist the eye, when they demonize the goat, they're not attacking a shape. They're attacking your path to self-knowledge. But here's the good news. The symbols are still here. They never lost their power. They're waiting for you to remember. They told you occult symbols were evil, but then they printed them onto your money. They carved them into Capitol buildings. They encoded them into your entertainment. The truth, the same people who told you to fear the symbols never stopped using them. They just didn't want you to know how. Because once you understand this language, you're harder to program. Let's start with the dollar. Look closely. The eye of providence sits above a 13-step pyramid, radiating light. Beneath it, Anuit Sheptis. He has favored our undertakings. Below that, Novus Ordo Seclorum, New Order of the Ages. You think it's just design. That's a sigil, an energy anchor, a symbol of dominance and divine right, printed on the thing you trade your time, energy, and life for. The 13 steps. Some say they represent the 13 bloodlines. Others say the degrees of Masonic initiation. The pyramid, material power built on ancient esoteric foundations, capped not with stone, but with sight. The eye doesn't watch you. It rules you, unless you wake up to what it means. Now look at the Omega symbol, the last letter of the Greek alphabet, the end. It shows up in military psyops, on fashion, and yes, embedded in architecture. But most don't know its deeper meaning. Every Omega signals an ending, but also a transition into something new. It's not just the end of an empire. It's the death of a paradigm, like fiat currency. The dollar is an Omega symbol now, not because of conspiracy, but because all things that rise without balance must collapse. And then there's the Obelisk, rising out of Washington, D.C., Vatican City, London, and countless capitals. Originally from Egypt, the Obelisk represented the masculine creative force, the eternal sun. But today, it's a totem of centralized power, projecting dominance into the sky while you walk beneath it, unaware. These aren't just monuments. They're anchors of energy. They tell your subconscious, you are small, we are gods. But once you see the code, the spell breaks. because symbols only control you if you don't know you're being spoken to. And now we come full circle. You've seen the ancient symbols. You've decoded the modern ones. But there's one more truth left to reveal. You are the symbol. And in the final chapter, we reclaim that truth. The symbols were never out there. They were always inside you. The I is your awareness. The goat is your raw will. 666 is your human nature, waiting to be mastered. The tree of life, a mirror of your mind and soul. They convinced you these were evil, so you'd never discover that you are the temple, the sacred object, the initiator, and the initiated. Here's what they feared most. Not that you'd study symbols, but that you'd become one. Because the awakened man becomes unpredictable. He no longer runs on fear. He no longer kneels to illusion. He sees the patterns in society, in himself, and he starts rewriting them. This is why initiation required silence. Why the old orders demanded discipline. Because transformation isn't entertainment. It's sacrifice. To transmute the beast inside you, you must face it. Not with dogma, but with consciousness. You're not alone. Every era has its initiates. Quiet figures walking among the noise, carrying ancient fire in modern skin. They don't seek the spotlight. They build inner temples. They don't fight the system directly. They outgrow it. These are the hidden ones, bound not by blood, but by will. And if this message resonated with you, if something in you remembered as you listened, you are one of them, not chosen by fate, but by your choice to seek truth over comfort. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your own initiation. Look again at the eye, the goat, the triangle, the spiral, the Ouroboros. These are not idols. They're not threats. They are fragments of you, calling you to awaken, to integrate, to remember. Because you were never meant to worship symbols. You were meant to become one. This is Deionos. Subscribe, watch, awaken. The age of blind belief is over. It's time to remember who you are.